Okay. So the recording has begun, and I'm getting ready to share to our live page so you can start a watch party as well. Okay. It has to load up again.
Stop. I stopped looking for acceptance when I.
It's preparing the live stream. So if someone can pull up our page and see if you see it.
I'm sorry, on what page would this be?
On our student health page.
It's on the Facebook page or the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, but I apologize. I forgot y'all have several social media outlets. Yes, it's the Facebook. Well, it may not have gone yet. It's asking for the title.
You might be mad at me because I don't even know the page name.
Okay, it's hold on.
I don't see it, Miss.
Health and counseling. Okay, it should be. Wait, I don't think it's launched yet, which is good. I'm setting it up now. Let me see what it'll let me tag.
Ooh, found it.
Okay, so it should show in just one moment.
Hey, Miss Smith.
All right, y'all see it? I found it.
Miss Smith.
Yes.
Are you able to add Quan Baker as a panelist too? Or is that something that Slay had to do?
I think I can add.
Hey, Megan.
Yes, okay, Quan. Send the name in the chat, Brandon, and I'll go ahead and start, and I'll work behind the scenes to get them added. Does that sound okay? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone that's joined us on today. We are here with Thrive Huntsville, and we'll be having a virtual discussion regarding LGBTQ plus life at an HBCU. So right now, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Brandon Edwards, from Thrive, and he will introduce the panelists. Enjoy our conversation. Feel free to share, grab a friend, text a friend. This is a very important conversation that we want to share. And we want to say to everyone that's viewing, Happy Pride Month.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Ms. Smith. As she stated, this is Pride Month. My name is Brandon Edwards. I'm sitting here with my lovely coworker, Shambria Davis. I know we are supposed to be physical distancing right now, but I was having some technical difficulties. We both were tested for COVID and they came up non-reactive, so we're good on that part. Today, we're going to be talking about the the LGBTQ Life plus life at a HBCU. We have a great panel that has different backgrounds and different, what's what I'm looking for?
Just different professions,
Professions.
expertise.
Yeah, there we go. Perspectives of everything when it comes to LGBTQ plus life. So what we're going to do, just a few little rules. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to put them in the chat or on Facebook Live, whichever way you're watching. And at the end of the webinar, when we start opening up for Q&A, if you want to unmute yourself, if you can, we'll, just speak out, and that way we'll be able to answer your question from that way as well. So we're going to start off with our first panelist, which is Ms. Debbie Duquette, and Shambria will introduce her.
Yes, so Ms. Debbie Duquette is a licensed independent clinical social worker providing psychotherapy to adults and children at her private practice, Lighthouse Clinical Social Work. She earned her Bachelor of Social Work degree from the University of North Alabama in 1994, so she's a veteran in the game, and achieved her Master of Social Work degree from Alabama A&M University in 1998. Debbie is an ally and enjoys working with diverse populations. She has over 15 years of experience in the mental health field that includes work with ages 3 and up in a variety of settings. She has a special interest in providing therapy for trauma, guiding people back to hope, and healing with a nurturing approach.
Thank you, Shambria.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Miss Megan Llewellyn. Megan is a bisexual woman who is passionate about advocating for equal rights for all individuals. She was raised in North Alabama and completed her Bachelor's of Art in Political Science and Philosophy and Master's in Business Administration at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Go Chargers! She then went to complete a Master's of Science in Management and Leadership from Western Governor University. Megan worked in higher education at both UAH and WGU for 7 years before joining the business industry in 2019, where she worked as a contract administrator. Megan is married to the handsome Steven, and they have one daughter, Nora. She's so cute too, by the way. They also currently becoming licensed as foster parents. They have 4 dogs and a bird, so you could say they are animal lovers. She loves clothes, shoes, and her husband. Will quickly say that she has way too many of both. As for hobbies, she is somewhat obsessed with houseplants houseplant aesthetics, including, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, she recently began learning to play the guitar. When she isn't working or volunteering, she enjoys spending time with her friends and family. Megan is especially interested in getting LGBTQ plus youth involved and letting them know that they matter. She believes that her personal background can help empower others to come out into the open and be welcomed with love and acceptance. She recently became volunteering with Community Awareness Research Equality, which is care services, where she gets the opportunity to interact with LGBTQ youth and give them a safe space to share with one another. Other activities that Megan is involved with: she's a head chapter advisory board for Epsilon Lambda chapter of Kappa Delta sorority at UAH, volunteering for care services, supporter of Moms Demand Action in Huntsville, and she is also on the Rocket City Proud Board of Directors. Sorry about that. Bye, y'all.
All right, moving on to Mr. Jaffe Jelks. So Jaffe Jelks is a current senior biology major attending the Alabama A&M University and hailing from the south side of Chicago, Illinois. There's some great things that come out of Chicago. So Jaffe, you right in the right you're from the right place. Jaffe is the oldest of 5 siblings, a younger sister, and younger triplet brothers. Jaffe is an openly gay African-American male. His passion in life is to become a certified OBGYN and to be successful. His overall aspiration in life is to be happy in life, period. A message to his LGBTQ plus family: stay strong, fight on, and you never stop fighting until you win. We are loud and proud and definitely will be heard. Jaffe.
All right, next we have Mr. Devin Townsend. Devin is a graduate from University of Alabama in Huntsville. He is now a staff person for the Office of Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion. He is also an out and proud member of the LGBTQ plus community, hailing from Prattville, Alabama.
Thank you.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Quan Baker. Quan is a young man filled with passion, tenacity, and creativity that has allowed him to beat all odds against him. Originally born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, he relocated to Alabama where he obtained his master's degree in social work. Quan envisions a life of intervening with and ameliorating the lives of individuals in underserved communities, specifically the youth. He understands that children are vital to our future and sometimes solely need guidance. Quan believes overcoming personal hardships have not only led him to where he stands proudly today, but has also motivated him to be a liaison and advocate for all communities. He lives by this quote: "The broken are the more evolved." Quan Baker.
All right, and so what we are going to pretty much do at this point is go ahead and jump right into the questions. So this is, of course, how the questions are going to go.
But before we do that, because I know y'all are super excited, before we just jump into it, we just want to make sure that we provide you all with just knowledge about Thrive Alabama. Thrive Alabama is a community health organization located here in Huntsville, Alabama. We have 2 other locations, Albertville, Alabama, and also 2 in Florence. So we service the LGBTQ plus community along with other communities of the heterosexual demographic. We offer primary care. We offer HIV testing, hepatitis C testing, pediatric care, and many things of that nature. So Thrive, again, is here to service the community in any way possible.
Thank you for the plug, my bad. So we're going to try to make this fun. As you can see, me and Shambria, we have, a few inside jokes that we might share with y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in with the questions. So to the panelists, what was actually your experience in the LGBTQ plus community? What was the dynamic? If there's anything that you would like to change about that dynamic, how did you feel that your peers, your faculty and staff, and other student organizations, how did you feel that they supported you in your lifestyle?
Does anyone just tackle a question?
Just jump right in. It's okay.
Oh, I guess I'll answer first. Again, I am Joffy Jokes. My experience is a little odd. I haven't really experienced too much of the hatred that I see on our social media platforms and news outlets and things like that. I kind of got the safer side, the welcoming with more open arms, if you will. Sort of, kind of. I did have the typical stereotype dad response. My biological dad was upset, the whole, no son of mine's gonna be gay. And it hurt, but whatever. It ain't stop a check. No, but it just, you laugh through the pain and it gets you past, because eventually he'll see that it's his loss, not mine. My mother was upset, although she stated that she knew my whole life, but she just didn't expect it to happen so young. I was 14, so I guess that kind of was just like a shocker to her. I don't know why. But now she just won't stay out of my business. She love to ask where my boyfriend at, when she gonna meet one. In due time. As far as peers in school goes and student-led organizations, I haven't experienced any homophobia in my student-led organizations. If anything, I've experienced so much love, and I get a lot of commendments for being myself and being open and not caring about the world. My peers are the same way, but again, I really have a bad but good, I don't care attitude, if that makes sense, because at the end of the day, if the world doesn't like me being gay, it's not gonna stop me, because I'm not living for the world, and have people that have these opinions that, again, they ain't stopping to check. So now when you stop to check, then then that's a different conversation. But, you know, be you, be happy, be yourself.
Thank you, Jaffe. Anybody else want to add along?
I can add a little bit of something to it. I know like my college experience was constantly changing. With each year, I kind of like grew more and opened up more and just really realized what I needed from my university and from the people around me. And so with that, I mean, I had a lot of supportive people around me, and I had that family that really helped push me to continue to learn more about myself and really become more like living my truth in a way. So.
All right. So I know you all definitely talked about, you know, the different experiences that you've had on campus, whether some may be positive, some may be negative, whatever the case may be. And I know that plays a lot into, you know, your mental health. So Ms. Debbie, this question is actually for you and then anybody else that wants to chime in. Keeping mental health in mind, Ms. Debbie, do you feel that the LGBTQ plus students are more at risk for mental health issues while in college compared to their counterparts?
I think so. I think that, you know, partly due to stigma, that, you know, that's just kind of a whole extra piece of things to be dealing with. You know, certainly one of those things, if there is a situation of coming out to family around that time, which I think isn't an unusual time to come out, as you've kind of gotten pretty solid in your identity and, you know, maybe feel you're establishing more of your independence and such, maybe sharing things like that with family. And if you're concerned about that affecting you financially by the reaction you might get, then that's definitely a completely different, you know, pressure to what other students may be experiencing. And I think sometimes just how much of a sense of acceptance there is at the particular university is going to play in a lot. And there's a lot of variety there. I think, thankfully, it's way different than when I was in school. So, you know, but there's still a lot of difficulty there. You know, not all schools have an organization that's really active and visible to students to have that sense, you know, that they're pretty welcome. And then even if there is, you know, do they know much about it? Or, you know, how are the other students who aren't involved in that? And, you know, and then just kind of being in society and dealing with, you know, the stigma that may be there. You know, it's just kind of some different things to be navigating. And, you know, imagine too, you know, even just the kind of, you know, dating's still going to be kind of, you know, different, you know, in those situations at college too. So I think it definitely puts, you know, more aspects of things, you know, to deal with. Hopefully we don't see a lot of, say, professors being, you know, particularly closed-minded in any lectures that they might do or something. But, you know, definitely that would have a really big impact if it did.
Yeah, I definitely agree and understand with that, because again, mental health streams a lot of other health that plays a part in it. And I know you talked about it from the standpoint of being like a therapist and stuff, but I want to ask the question to any of the students, or even, you know, just about somebody that wants to answer, how has your mental health been as it relates to being a part of the LGBTQ plus community?
I'll answer that one. So as far as my mental health, being in the community, I actually was shunned from my home at a young age, you know, going into college, well, as in high school. So I left and went to college basically to escape and kind of have somewhere to rest my head. And, you know, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was kind of figuring things out as I was going. I think my mental health was very shaky, but like Jaffe said, you know, I have that nonchalant attitude, but it's also like a positive attitude to kind of keep me going inside. My mental health was not the best, but I've always been a strong person. You know, the exterior has always been strong, and I had to keep that together for myself. So at times it was hard, it was difficult. I never dealt with depression, thank God, but I did feel low at times where I knew I had to pick myself up because I was the only thing that I had. It was just me. So, it was very tough.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
I'll say that my mental health suffered a lot during college because I didn't come out until after college. I was an ally during college, and during that time, I really struggled with, wanting to tell my friends and wanting to tell people, but not being sure if they would accept me. So going to counseling and being really aware of my mental health, I think was really important. And I think that is, there's such a stigma around mental health. It's so hard for a lot of people to feel like they can go and seek help. So if anybody is struggling, I always encourage you to go and seek help because it can be very helpful.
Thank you, Megan. And also, it's another service that we do provide here at Thrive Alabama, behavioral health. So if you need it, just feel free to sign up. Okay, so going into our next question. Okay, so this is going to be more so in your lane, Megan. What are some ways that students can be involved with Rocket City Pride and or Care Services or any other local organizations in the community?
So Care Services, I think, would be great for any high school age students. So, sorry, still recovering from surgery and I'm like coughing. But so I think with Care Services, any high school age students that want to get involved can be really helpful experience to be able to come out and talk to other like-minded individuals. And then of course you have adults there that are just kind of there to mediate and just be there as a listening ear. So that's one way to get involved. And then with Rocket City Pride, if you're wanting to get involved with different committees, we do have different committees that we have for breakouts. So that can be helpful. We can always use additional volunteer support. So if you want to volunteer for any of the Rocket City Pride events coming up in October, we'd love to have you. So definitely reach out to us and we'd like to get you involved.
Thank you. And I guess to the other panelists, are you all involved in any LGBTQ related organizations at school or out of school?
I'd love to tackle this. So
go ahead, John.
Let's give a little backstory, not too long. 2017, I came to Alabama A&M, and there was no representation as far as organization-wise. Of course, you had certain organizations that everybody just seemed like, oh, that's all the gays joining, oh yeah, that's cute now. So I took it upon myself to figure out how can I get something started? How can I get anything? How can I get an inch if I need it, or even a mile if I can get it? And currently we are still in the works, but it's there. Common ground. So for anybody who is in the audience or even on the panel that goes to A&M, because it's a big school, so I don't know, but yeah, so anybody who's in that, who allies, if you a real ally, hear me when I say a real ally, and or in the community, you are more than welcome to come and join us. You are more than welcome to come and join us. We are definitely trying to get off the ground more than we are. We are currently under the Student Health Alliance wing for the time being until we can actually, get stable. So come help us get stable. And I think that representation is more than necessary. It's long overdue. We have been around since 1875. It is the year of 2020. You catch my drift. But yes, come join us. Come join us. That's all I can tell you, honestly. Just come join us.
Anyone else?
I recently was a board member of Rocky City Pride. I was over board chair of events, but due to COVID, I had to leave, and I also interned for a year at Thrive Alabama up under Heath Nicholas. Yeah, so that's pretty much my give back to the community.
All right, and just to kind of piggyback a little bit off of Jaffe, I'm an alumni from Alabama A&M University, graduated in 2013, and I can totally, fully agree with what he was saying, because as somebody that is a part of the LGBTQ community, not having that representation of an organization that is actually based upon the community, for the community, it was kind of, you know, a little janky, because it was like, you know, not that people did not accept us or understand us, if you will, but it was just, you know, we still had to try to fit in somebody else's mold when we just want something for us by us. So kudos to Common Ground.
Is. I know I actually went to A&M and got my master's there, but I was able to see like the Student Health Alliance and also to Common Ground really come together in fruition. So I just want to thank those who actually paved the way, and even though you have a long way to go, still paving the way for those coming after you and actually reaching back. So to the founders and just everybody that's really putting their foot in the soil. Thank you all so much for that. And I'm happy that you all touched on, you know, the different organizations on your campus. But in order to have those organizations, I also feel like maybe some education and training maybe need to be implemented so those who don't identify with you, the population, can also have a better understanding. So my question for you all is, what are some partnerships, trainings, education that need to be implemented for the LGBTQ plus students to make sure that the organizations continue to thrive?
One of the things that we have at UAH is we started this last semester was a Pride in October. And so this is like a celebration that we partner with Student Life and different organizations on campus and our one LGBT organization. And so with that, we put on a setup. We have Thrive come out. They had testing going on, and then we have just different tents set up where they can get resources and just talk to the different departments that they will be directly in contact with if they needed any help. With the Office of Diversity in particular, we have Brandy who's there to just help all of our students who have any problems or anything like that. And so just those partnerships throughout campus continuously have really helped us reach more people. Especially with like housing and stuff like that, because with complications, there's obviously going to be complications when you have a trans student in there and all the different things that go on with that. And so it's just making sure that you're really transparent, and that's been what's helped us so far, but we still do have a long way to go to make sure that we have that representation and that the students are being heard and seen.
Anybody else? Thanks for your feedback.
Oh. All right. So, Miss Debbie, I'm gonna throw another one back into your ball, your playground.
Okay.
So when it comes to the individuals who are actually transitioning, what are some day-to-day things that you hear as a therapist that they may be dealing with?
I think I would say probably what I tend to, I guess, hear most as a big and difficult concern a lot of time is that access to medical care, particularly where it may relate to surgery, and especially more complex surgeries, of just kind of be like, oh, well, you know, where in this area do I go? Do I have to go out of state? So I think sometimes just kind of knowing who can I see that, you know, provides the services that I'm looking for. Also hoping to, you know, find someone who's, you know, quite good at what they do, and where all around the experience can be affirming. I know I heard from someone going out of state but close by to a larger city, I think to Planned Parenthood for hormones, and had actually felt like they had a negative experience that first time there. Gave it a second shot and things went better. But I think just it didn't feel, I think who they encountered felt, you know, like they were kind of the more authoritarian type of provider instead of, you know, working more as partners in healthcare kind of thing, you know, of really listening to good input from the patient. So I think that's a part of kind of, in some cases, even getting more information about, you know, what are the possibilities, and knowing more of, okay, and what are the results? So I think that can be tricky, and sometimes on that smaller scale of finding, okay, well, is there anyone local? And I think probably more people know now that Thrive is available and will do the hormone treatment. But that's even still fairly new. Thrive hasn't been around super long. So I think that's been a part of just kind of that issue. Where do I go to get what I need? And not only the healthcare provider, but are the staff there going to treat me okay? Are they going to be affirming or not? I think that's a part. And I think for many people, there's also, I don't know anybody. I've had clients, they don't know anyone locally who is also, and a lot of times they're at least partially closeted, in this case. But often they don't know anyone else who's trans, and so there's not someone they can face-to-face talk to maybe get some tips of like, well, where have you gone, or where are you thinking about going, or what have you heard about your insurance and whether it covers some of these services or is difficult about that. So or even just things like, well, what did you do about coming out? How did you approach it? I think just kind of getting that sense of how to navigate those things. And just also, well, I'd say really a big thing is that sense of being alone and feeling like this is hostile. Might be hostile's too strong a word, I think, at least in most cases, but just feeling like, Huntsville, this is a southern city, and kind of like it's not the biggest city, so they're a lot of the time concerned with, it feels like I may not be in a very friendly place, or I'm, new here and I'm expecting that's likely what it's going to be like. And, if you're not encountering anyone else out, in your work and other aspects of life, then, okay, yeah, it can maybe look that way a little bit. You hadn't been to, the right places, met the right people, seen the right crowd and businesses that are affirming. And I think it's so important to get that sense of universality, that other people are feeling some of those feelings too. You're not the only person who may be dealing with transitioning or having transitioned, or, just navigating some aspects of that. But it makes a big difference when, instead of just sort of, it in theory and probably somewhere out there, when you literally can see, all right, I actually know a person who's actually local who, is dealing with some of the same things. When you see there's a community there that you can connect with and that's supportive, I think, that's just super important. And I think that helps too with the coping. There's something very powerful about, connection and belonging. And that's one of the reasons I think, say having those student organizations is very important, having organizations in the community. And that's why I think having things like Pride events, particularly when there can be community events, which I'm, sort of missing. Have rainbow sunglasses to hand out with, a business name on them. It's like, I can't really do that as I could before. But, I think it's great to be able to see something like that, where a person who hasn't met anyone, in the community can go and see, oh, wow, yeah, that is out there. And I think with those events in particular, I love that there are allies that come, and that, there's so much of a great sense of, acceptance and community, there at those events, where people can see, hey, this is exciting, and look at all these people, who are accepting and affirming. So I think that those are really important.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did mention Thrive Alabama, because I was going to mention the services that we had. So thank you for the plug. And just to kind of elaborate, I know last year we held a trans mixer, and the reviews that we heard from it, being of course employees, were absolutely phenomenal. And of course, I know that at one point we were planning another one But of course, COVID-19 had other plans.
Yes.
And but of course, again, like you said, I think we all encourage everybody to keep looking out for things in the community, because I know with Rocket City Pride, they have a transmixer coming up in their um, festivities for October. Is that right, Megan?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So of course, be looking out and excuse me, be looking out for everything, because of course, even at Thrive, Rocket City Pride, and anybody else, we're all here for the community and making sure that we are taking care of everybody as best as we can.
And I definitely agree with you, Brandon. In this climate, community is very important, along with, just campus involvement. So with that, Megan, I have a question for you. As someone that works within the community, do you see a disconnect between campus and community involvement?
I think there's always a little bit of a disconnect, just because a lot of times when students are in college, they're very very stuck to like what's going on in their specific community on like college campus. And I was like that too. So seeing Quan getting involved with RC, with Rocket City Pride, like that was awesome. The fact that he was still in college, but also trying to get involved within the community and not just, campus community. So, that's encouraging to see that other people are starting to do that more. And I think that we could do more with more youth involvement. So more young adults getting involved, because, the youth is our future. So getting them involved as quickly as possible and as soon as we can, I think is really important. So yeah, there is a disconnect, and I'm not sure how to bridge that other than like with Rocket City Pride or Thrive, reaching out to these campus organizations and trying to get them involved with different events that we're doing, things like that. I think that's kind of a good starting point for us. But I feel like they also have to be, willing to get involved too, beyond just their campus community.
I believe, if I may piggyback, I believe that disconnect is present because you have a lot of students who usually travel from different states. Like, so for me, I'm from Georgia, but I went to school in Talladega, Alabama, and then I came to Huntsville. I didn't know anyone. I came with one friend, we were roommates. So a lot of times when I did come out to try to join Rocket City Pride or intern at Thrive, Alabama, it took me doing my own research. So I do encourage people to do their own research in the communities and find things that fit them. Me, I want to work with the LGBTQ plus youth. So that was something that I looked for. I told my professors, hey, I want to intern here. And then, the organization still have to be very visible, and you have to make it look nice so it attracts the people that you want. And I think that's, like you said, is a great starting point, but that's why that disconnect is there, in my opinion, too.
So kind of to piggyback off of that, so Jaffe and Devin, with you all being actually on a campus right now, how do you see that the students are reaching out to Rocket City Pride or Thrive Alabama or Care Services or GLSEN, and the list, of course, can go on and on. But how is that bridge being, walked over, I guess?
Excuse me. I would like to say that it's not an easy walk or an easy build, if you will, because they're still building that bridge. Of course, we can't take the steps that we like to take. We must take these baby steps because we, got to be careful with administration-wise, and we don't want to step on nobody's toes and go behind anybody's back and cause any riffraffs and things like that. But the little things that did occur as far as Rocket City Pride, how some of my Common Ground members actually helped out back in October around, I think it was like around Magic City Classic. And they had I think it was a prom. And unfortunately, I missed it being down in Birmingham. But the fact that the rest of my group members were able to, go and help and enjoy themselves, and to listen to them in the group chat, like, oh, I had so much fun. Are they going to do this again? And it was like, okay, I'd like that. And I was like, okay, well, there's a start. And then even just to have Thrive Alabama come to our campus at times and offer like free testing and different events that they do. I think that's, you know, that's also helpful, and it can't be stopped because it's necessary. Because again, you need that more community involvement rather than just being, like you said, rather than just being on your campus. Because we're definitely concerned with our campus, but what about life after campus? What about our students who, you know, live off campus, and what are the research they have to go at times when they can't come to campus? So it's like, you know, if we build those partnerships with Rocket City Pride and Thrive Alabama as we should, then, you know, we'll be able to refer them in enough time and help them in that timely manner rather than waiting until it's too late and having these shoulda, coulda, wouldas when you could have done that a long time ago. And that time is now before it gets too late.
That's good, Jaffe. Devin, do you want to add anything?
Oh yeah, I could kind of build off of that as well, especially with the baby steps. I mean, our first Pride on campus was, I feel like, one of the best ventures to really like bridge that gap and start to realize that we do have a LGBT community in Huntsville. I mean, coming up here, I didn't even realize that it was going to be so many like people on the spectrum here. But after I slowly started to pay attention and like looking for things to do, I started to really see what was going on in the community. But it's just really making sure that these students know and like see it like constantly, because they're not going to be paying attention, and they're not really realizing their power and their impact in the larger Huntsville community. And so with these events and like seeing Thrive at places and just talking about all the different aspects of being LGBT, we're able to get more people involved. I mean, I remember working a voter registration table at Rocket City Pride 2 or 3 years ago. And so it's just like, just seeing all of that is really important, just to get out there and realize your power.
Okay, I'm glad y'all mentioned that, because Megan, I know my boss is watching, and of course, so we expect to see UAH and A&M at these Pride events and Thrive events. Just throwing that out there. So Jaffe, you mentioned testing, because of course, you know, with Thrive being there. So this is I'm gonna throw some statistics at y'all, and then of course followed by some questions. Excuse me. So being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and hearing that 1 in every 2 Black MSM stands for men who have sex with men, have a chance of becoming 1 of the 2 have chances of becoming infected with HIV. What does that mean to you as so this will pretty much be to Devin, Jaffe, and Quan being minority MSMs. How does that make you feel hearing that statistic, 1 in every 2?
Being the fact that I am young, I'm not saying y'all old, but I'm 19, so just throw that out there. I'm 19, and I'm away from home at school, and sometimes I am intrigued by other men. Take it how you will, with that, how that goes. So, you know, it's a little, it's nerve-wracking. It's scary, because, and then especially like now, like hearing that like 1 and 2, so it's like I can call myself attracted to this boy, to this, I'm gonna say man because I'm tired of boys, but to a man, and to know that, you know, we are part of that statistic of that 1 to 2. So like,